If there's one thing I want you to take from this, it's this. Stay delusional. Stay so stubbornly convinced of your own future that reality has no choice but to catch up to you. We are not built to just plan. We are built to dream first and plan second. You have to be a little insane to believe something that hasn't happened yet is already yours. People will call it delusion. Fine, let them. Delusion only stays delusion if you never turn it into something real. The moment you build the life you imagined, nobody calls it delusion anymore. They call it vision. I remember when I had nothing, not a dollar to spare, not a plan that made sense on paper. And still I could see the car I hadn't bought yet. I could feel my hands on a wheel I didn't own. People laughed. Friends made jokes behind my back and sometimes to my face. I let them, because in my head it was already done. It was already mine. The only thing left was time. You don't need proof before you believe. The proof comes after. The belief has to come first, or nothing else follows. Everything you want is possible. Not someday, not eventually. The door is open right now, today, this year. The only thing standing between you and it is whether you're willing to hold the picture in your mind long enough for your hands to catch up. So ask yourself the real questions. Who are you? Where are you actually headed? What do you want? Not what you're supposed to want, not what looks good to other people, but what you actually want. Change how you think, and you change everything downstream of that thought. Your income, your relationships, your health, your peace, all of it traces back to what's running on repeat in your head. You are not fundamentally different from anyone living the life you want. The only gap between you and them is that they gave themselves permission first. There are 1,000 ways to fall short. There are only 2 destinations, built or broke. I'm not here to soften that. I'm not apologizing for saying it plainly, because looking back at my own road, I don't see another way it could have gone. Close your eyes and see it. Not someday, now. You were given an imagination for a reason. Use it like a tool, not a toy. See yourself already holding what you're chasing. The mind doesn't separate what's real from what's vividly imagined. To your nervous system, a clearly pictured outcome and a lived experience register almost the same way. That's not a gimmick. That's just how the wiring works. So sit down, get quiet, build the picture of the life you actually want, in detail, and write it down as if it's already happening. I am, not I will be. Read it back to yourself every single day until it stops feeling like fiction and starts feeling like memory. Every teacher worth listening to across every era keeps circling back to the same idea. You become what occupies your mind. It might feel like a story you're telling yourself at first. Keep telling it anyway. Repetition is what turns a story into a belief, and belief is what turns into behavior. Thought shapes feeling, feeling drives action, and action repeated becomes a life. I stopped a guy outside a hotel once, standing next to a car most people only see in magazines. This yours? Yeah. What do you do? I build things. I solve problems for people who'll pay for it. How long have you been doing this? Going on 4 decades. Biggest year you ever had. Just past 8 figures. Ever been flat broke? More than once. Built it, lost it, rebuilt it, and this time I built it so it doesn't slip through my fingers again. What actually separates people who stay stuck from people who don't? Most people trade hours for money, so everything feels expensive because they're literally paying with their life. People who build something trade ideas for money. When you're paid for your thinking instead of your hours, the price of things stops scaring you. Try this for 1 week. Before you sleep, say it out loud. Something good is coming tomorrow. When you wake up, say it again. Repeat it through the day, quietly, like a private joke only you're in on. By the end of the week, you'll notice something strange. You'll struggle to remember all the small good things that happened because there were too many to count. Not because the universe rearranged itself for you, because you finally started looking for it. I used to wake up before sunrise, stand under freezing water, and say things out loud that sounded absurd coming out of my mouth. I'm wealthy, I'm disciplined, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. It felt ridiculous the first 50 times. Then somewhere around the 100th time, my actions quietly started lining up with the words. That's the whole trick. Say it until your behavior can't argue with it anymore. What's the one belief that changed everything for you, that you become whatever occupies your thoughts most? Thought becomes action. Action becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. Identity becomes destiny. Everything traces back to what you let live in your head. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Both the people who make it and the people who don't are self-made. The difference is that the ones who made it will actually admit it out loud. The ones who didn't tend to blame everything except the thinking that got them there. Own your mind, and you own what happens next. I don't need my name carved into a sidewalk somewhere. I want the thing I actually came for. And honestly, I'm not even chasing it anymore. In my head, I already have it. I move like someone who already has it, because in every way that matters, I do. You have to assume it's already done. Carry the picture like it's a memory, not a wish. It's already happened in the only place that matters first, your mind. If it weren't real to me internally, I couldn't even describe it to you right now. The fact that I can talk about it in detail means some part of me already lives there. Get emotionally attached to the goal, not just intellectually aware of it. Know it in your head and feel it in your chest. That combination is what pulls people through the parts of the process that don't feel good yet. Your mind is the one truly unique thing about you. Your body is just the vehicle carrying it around. Preparation happens in the picture you build beforehand. If you've already lived the moment 100 times in your head, the real version feels familiar instead of terrifying. I knew, long before anyone else believed it, exactly where this was headed. It wasn't easy. There were years that tested every part of me. But I proved the doubters wrong. And more importantly, I proved myself right. Wealth and scarcity are both habits of attention. People with money spend their mental energy on opportunity, growth, and possibility. People without it spend their mental energy on risk, shortage, and worst-case scenarios. If you want to shift your results, you first have to shift where your attention lives. Keep your mind fixed on what you're building, not on what could go wrong. Thousands of new millionaires are made every single day, somewhere in the world. Any one of us could be next, this week, this month. I became one on an ordinary Tuesday. Nothing about the calendar made it special. Nothing about my background made it likely either. I was working a job that barely covered rent before I decided something had to change. If it happened for someone as unremarkable as I was, it can happen for you. It's not reserved for a lucky few. Most people simply never actually try. No one is coming to rescue you from your own situation. I always carried a quiet certainty that things would work out. Not arrogance, just a feeling that I was meant for something. And I paced myself and kept learning until my moment arrived. Your dreams need to be bigger than your fears, bigger than the worst-case scenario you keep running in your head. Most people don't fail because they aim too high and missed. They fail because they aim too low and actually hit it. Aim at something enormous. Even if you fall short, you'll still land somewhere far past where you started. When I had nothing, I still carried myself like the car I wanted was already mine. I used to flip through auto listings on my brakes, circling the one I planned to buy. People asked why I bothered. I told them I was just picking out my next car. They laughed. Years later, when I finally pulled up in it, the same people who laughed went quiet. The best response to doubt isn't an argument, it's outcomes. Let the results speak while you stay quiet and keep moving. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room to build wealth. Money isn't earned through intelligence alone. It's earned through value creation, consistency, and understanding that money itself is just an idea, a medium of exchange. If you want more of it, the path is to create more value for more people, not to simply work more hours. There are laws that govern how money moves, the same way there are laws that govern gravity. Once you understand that earning more isn't about luck, but about shifting your own perception of what's possible, everything downstream starts to change. An affirmative thought carries more force than a negative one, not metaphorically, but practically, in how it shapes your choices. So feed your mind on purpose. Choose what plays on repeat in your head the way you'd choose what you eat. Read this to yourself morning and night. Life is going to work out. The right people are going to find you, and the wrong ones are going to fall away. You are going to build the career, the home, the relationships you actually want. You are going to be recognized for what you give the world. Keep reading it. Watch what happens over months, not days. If your goal doesn't make a few people laugh when you say it out loud, it isn't big enough yet. Go back and dream bigger. Stop living small, safe, and comfortable. Do something that actually scares you. That's usually the sign you're finally aiming at something real. To me, wanting to win outright always sounded arrogant to some people. Why enter something you're not trying to win? That's just how I've always approached everything, and that mindset isn't going anywhere. Second place stings. Third stings worse. On tour, that's not always a disaster, but I still want the win. That's just who I am. You'll understand eventually. I already understand more than you think. True freedom starts the moment you stop caring what other people think of your choices. The more weight you give someone else's opinion, the more you hand them the keys to your own life. Whatever you keep focusing your attention on, lack, fear, poverty, you keep pulling more of it toward you, because your mind will always chase what it's fed. Success starts with a razor-sharp sense of purpose, a clear picture of exactly what you want and why. Write it down. Your one true definition of what success looks like for you specifically, not for anyone else. Remember, the only real limits are the ones you accept, either from yourself or from people around you. Then write what you're willing to give in return for it, because nothing worth having is free of a trade. Memorize both pages. Repeat them daily until they're no longer words on paper but instinct. One of the most underrated exercises. Look yourself in the eyes in the mirror and say, "I'm proud of you." It feels strange at first. Keep doing it anyway. It's a strange thing when everyone around you says you're doing great, and then you're alone at night, staring at your own reflection, not fully believing it yet. You only get one run at this. Go all the way in. Ever notice that when you take a wrong turn using a map app, it doesn't scold you? It doesn't say you failed. It just quietly recalculates and shows you a new path. That's exactly how setbacks should be treated. You took a wrong turn. Fine. Recalculate. Maybe that detour saved you from a bigger mistake down the road. Maybe it taught you something the straight path never would have. Stop yelling at yourself like you're permanently lost. You're not behind. You're recalculating, and you're still going to arrive. Oh, if I could hand you one lever that moves everything else, it's speed. How fast you move is often a better predictor of your results than how smart you are. I once asked someone who had built and given away enormous amounts of wealth what made the difference. He thought about it and said, "I just move fast." By the time other people finish debating an idea, I've already tried it, failed twice, and found the version that works. Speed isn't about rushing carelessly. It's about compressing the distance between deciding and doing. If you can't sit still, ignore distractions, and commit to one task for hours at a stretch, you'll struggle to build anything that lasts. The biggest threat to your future usually isn't competition. It's the distractions you keep choosing over the work you already know you should be doing. If you want more money, put in the work that earns it. If you want to be financially literate, pick up the books nobody's forcing you to read. If you want a stronger body, change what you eat and move your body on purpose. Stop obsessing over some distant future and focus on what's directly in front of you today. Every action creates a reaction. That's not motivation, that's physics. Only people willing to take real risks get outsized results. If you're doing exactly what everyone around you is doing, by definition you can't outperform them. You have to be willing to stand apart. You have to be a little unreasonable to believe something is possible before anyone else does. That's how the odds get beaten. That's how you build something worth the sacrifice. When belief is total, the rest of the plan tends to sort itself out. Wanting to build wealth requires more than ambition. It requires a shift in identity. People who build real wealth don't obsess over spare change. They think in terms of scale and systems. It's a mindset shift before it's a bank balance shift. I was taught that without formal schooling, doors stay shut. Then I found myself owning the company instead of working inside someone else's, without ever following that traditional path. It made me question how many other things I'd simply accepted as true without ever testing them. The purpose of struggle is to strip away ignorance and replace it with awareness. And the only real cure for ignorance is deliberate learning. Most people close their books the day they finish school and never open another one. That decision quietly caps their future more than any lack of natural talent ever could. It's rarely about raw intelligence. It's about whether you're willing to rebuild your own assumptions and follow through on the new blueprint, even when you don't fully understand it yet. I didn't always understand what I was doing. I just kept feeding my mind daily, reading, listening, reprogramming the default settings I'd inherited. To eventually live the easier version of life, you often have to survive the harder version first. I get to say I bought back the home I grew up dreaming about. I built the life I used to only imagine, and every bit of it came from decades of showing up daily since I was barely a teenager. Time, effort, setbacks, the quiet moments where you seriously doubt whether it's going to work, you need all of that to actually be ready to hold on to success once it arrives. There's a cost to reaching a high level, and there's no way to skip paying it. A man once stopped me and asked why he wasn't improving, despite chasing goal after goal, races, promotions, personal records. I asked him one question: does the goal scare you? Does failing at it actually threaten something in you? He said no. That was the whole problem. He was setting goals safe enough to guarantee success, and comfort doesn't build growth. Fear, doubt, and real risk are exactly where growth happens. You have to set goals that genuinely might not work, because that edge is where transformation lives. If you're afraid of it, do it anyway. If you're already doing it, stop being afraid. Give yourself 30 days for a task, and it will somehow take 30 days. Give yourself 3 hours instead, and it'll take 3. Work expands to fill whatever time you allow it. So ask yourself honestly, does this actually need this much time, or am I just letting it stretch? If you can't clearly write down what you actually want, you have no real shot at getting it. Your mind can only aim at a target it's been shown. Give it a vivid, specific picture, or it will default to drifting. It's not wrong to pour yourself fully into your 20s and 30s. Push against your limits early, while the cost of failure is lowest and your capacity to recover is highest. Test how much you can actually handle, how disciplined you can become, how many hours you can sustain, where your real ceiling is. Great minds spend their time on ideas. Ordinary minds spend their time discussing events as they happen. Small minds spend their time discussing other people. The pattern is telling. The biggest thinkers are oriented toward the future. The average are stuck reacting to the present, and the smallest are trapped replaying the past. What idea occupied your mind today? The ones who build wealth trust their vision more than their fear. The ones who stay stuck trust their fear more than their vision. Try this. Look around the room and mentally catalog everything brown. Now close your eyes and try to recall everything red. You'll struggle because you weren't looking for it. Open your eyes and search for red specifically. Suddenly it's everywhere. That's belief in a nutshell. Once you commit to a belief, your mind starts hunting for evidence to support it, sometimes even inventing evidence that's barely there. If you believe you're capable, you'll find proof of your capability everywhere you look. If you believe you're doomed, you'll find that too. Either way, you'll find exactly what you went looking for. Fear will always be present in your life. What changes is how much control you hand it. You can spend your entire life bracing for imagined disasters, but the only thing that's ever actually real is this exact moment and the choice sitting in front of you, rooted either in love or in fear. Here's a quiet secret about the mind. It can only hold one dominant thought at a time. So if a negative one takes hold, you don't erase it by trying to think about nothing. You replace it deliberately with something stronger and more useful. Whatever fear tries to plant, of failing, of falling short, of being rejected, override it on purpose with a picture of what you actually want. The one thing you fully control in this life is your own thinking. Master that, and nearly everything else becomes negotiable. Why does it always circle back to money? Because everything you use, everything you rely on, has a cost attached somewhere. When money is scarce, it dominates your thinking constantly. The trip you can't take, the moment you can't be present for, the job you're stuck in because leaving isn't financially safe yet. Money itself doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy control over your own time and choices. And that control matters more than people admit. If something matters enough to actually achieve, it has to become a genuine priority, not a side thought squeezed in when convenient. Nobody stumbles into real wealth by accident. Nobody stumbles into a strong body or a strong business by accident either. They stay obsessed with the target long enough that the obsession quietly becomes their new normal. Right before sleep, your brain shifts into a more suggestible state. That's exactly why what you consume in the last few minutes before bed, A message, an affirmation, a clear picture of your goal tends to sink in deeper than anything you consciously push through during the day. The people who accomplish extraordinary things are often described as visionaries for a reason. They can close their eyes and see a version of the future clearly enough that it starts pulling them toward it. Visualizing your goal as already complete tells your mind what to start filtering for. Your brain is constantly sorting the flood of information around you, and it lets through whatever matches the picture you've given it. Without a clear picture, it filters out the very opportunities you need. Whatever number you believe you're capable of earning, you'll unconsciously start noticing just enough opportunity to hit exactly that number, no more. Raise the number in your head, and the opportunities you start noticing rise with it.